Welcome everyone to the Saturday morning training. My name is Mair Hill and I am your trainer this morning. Consider me your sales professor because I'm here to help you with an important kickoff on how you start the entire sales process, which is identify. And with that, we are going to get started. So whether or not you identify as a salesperson, you're a salesperson. In Relive, you have a product. And until, I know we just want to help people, but until somebody buys that product, you're not helping them. And so by definition, you're a salesperson. And you're already selling all day, every day. You're selling your ideas to your clients, your colleagues, your boss, your partner, your kids. Think about the last time that you tried to convince your kids to finish their dinner, eat their peas, finish their salad, eat an apple instead of an ice cream cone. That's selling. Sales is all about building a relationship, right? People buy things from people they know, like, and trust. And there are a bazillion nutrition companies out there. There's a bazillion anti-aging companies. I don't know. I'm on Instagram. If you look on social media, they're all over the place. AG Greens. I've even seen TV commercials about it. So there are a billion companies out there. The competition is fierce. But when you build a solid, authentic relationship with your client, they're going to buy it from you because they know, like, and trust you. So there's 7 steps of the sales cycle. Again, if we're looking at you as a salesperson, and I know most people do this when it comes to sales, but you can't avoid it. And there's 7 steps of the sales cycle: prospecting, preparation, approach, presentation, handling objections, closing, and follow-up. I would argue that follow-up pretty much fits every single one of those segments, because you prospect, then you follow up, you prepare, then you follow up. But for today, we are going to focus on the first one, which is prospecting. Prospecting is looking for those people who have a need, because you as the salesperson, you as the Relive distributor, are going to help fill that need, to quench that need, to solve that problem. And that's what prospecting is identifying those people who have those needs. First, I'll give you a little bit about my background and where I've come from. I've been with Relive for 20 years. And this is my family photo from Christmas. And yes, I'm honored that my boys, who are all, actually, my oldest is 30 now, still agree to wear matching pajamas. But it was 20 years ago when my youngest, who's on the right, Jack Hill, he had chronic ear infections. And I had been working with a nutritionist myself for 5 years prior to that, because I was tired all the time. I was tired and bloated. That's all I wanted was energy, and I wanted my tummy to feel better. And I was told not to eat sugar, gluten, dairy, pork, chicken, peanuts, caffeine, or alcohol. I did that really faithfully for 3 years. I never got the results I was looking for. I was swallowing 150 pills a day, spending $500 a month on supplements. Even my husband, who is so supportive, and yes, I am married, will be 40 years this year. He's so supportive, but even he was starting to raise an eyebrow about $500 a month. And so I came to a crossroads, and I stopped those supplements. They weren't helping me anyway. And it was about 6 weeks later, I was introduced to Relive. I didn't think powders in a can were going to help me. But like I said, my youngest, Jack Hill, had chronic ear infections. He had already had ear tube surgery 3 times, and he was still getting ear infections. And one of the stories that I heard early on was about a little boy not having ear infections anymore. And I thought, okay, what the heck? I've tried everything else. I was taking him to a chiropractor. I was giving him herbal supplements. Like I was weaning him off of dairy. I was trying all the things that I knew. So powders in a can certainly were simpler than all of those things. We all got started on the product really to support Jack. And I got the energy I was looking for in the first few weeks. Jack did have 2 ear infections that first year. We moved, so I think some of it was just stress because we moved. But it's been 20 years. He's still on the product, because now I don't make him take it. He takes it himself. He buys it himself. That's how important it is to his regimen. But he's never had another ear infection. My energy has never left me. My energy has never left me. Jack is now a CrossFit coach. He puts me through the paces every Friday morning, and I can keep up with him, and I can keep up with the small group workout exercises that I do at the local gym, where these women they're 20 years younger than me, and I'm still running rings around them. So the products have been amazing. As for the business, I had my own company. I had my own company for 17 years. I grew it to 15 million in gross annual sales. I made a lot of money doing it. I had 18 salespeople, 5 people in my office, a 6,000 square foot showroom at the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. I never expected that my business would be that good, or that big, I should say. I knew it would be that good, but I never expected it to be that big. And I started my own company thinking someday I will have kids and I want to be home with them after school the way my mom was with me. And instead, my company grew and grew and grew and took me away from my boys. And the crowning glory came when I had a key person in my organization, and she gave me 9 months notice. She moved away. And so I was doing her job that summer, which is during our major markets. And I was working, 24/7 basically. And one day in August, I came home early for me, 5:30. I walked in, my 3 boys were playing. They didn't even look up. They just said, "Hi, Dad." And that's when my heart broke. And I said, this is not what I signed up for. I made the decision to close my company, be home with my boys, do Relive around their schedule. Like I said, it's been 20 years. Relive has paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've helped a lot of people, and it's given me the freedom to be where my boys are. When Jack was in college, he played D1 lacrosse. I went to all of his games. I'm in Chicago. He was in Connecticut. So from January through May, I was on the East Coast every weekend. And Relive gave me that freedom because you can do your business wherever you are as long as you have your mouth, your phone, and the willingness to speak up. So in Relive, the sales cycle is called IXAR. It's a little bit simplified. Identify, connect, share, ask for a decision, and register. And again, we're going to do the first one, which is identify. At the end, if you have questions, write them down now as we're going along, because at the end, you'll be able to ask me questions. We're going to go for about an hour today, and be happy to stay for that full hour. As long as you have questions, I'll keep answering them. So I know in Relive, it's so easy to say, but I want to help everybody. Everybody needs Relive. And while I agree with that, I agree. Every single person on this planet needs Relive. Every single person on this planet would benefit from the products and the business opportunity. Not everybody knows that. And so when you speak to everyone, you actually speak to no one, because it's a different conversation all the way around. So if you look at this woman, she's young, she's looking to get healthy, she's out in nature, maybe she's a mom, maybe this is a Saturday morning, maybe she's a busy executive burning off stress. You don't know from this picture, but think of all the things I just said, all those stories that I wrapped around this one photo of a woman jogging outside, and compare that to this one, where these men are geeking out playing video games. Maybe they never see the light of day. You don't know that they haven't been at this game for the last 24 hours. I mean, look at the guy. They've all got facial hair. So maybe they've just been at it. They're drinking beer, eating pizza. So they eat junk food. So they are very different from the woman who is running outside trying to get healthy. And you couple that or triple that with this woman who's on the older end of things, and maybe she's grumpy. Maybe she is scolding somebody. Maybe she's looking for a way to pay for her retirement. Maybe she's looking for a way to get out of bed easier in the morning or avoid knee replacement. All 3 of these photos, each one of these people, they all have different needs. When we're talking about identifying, prospecting today, so you're trying to identify these needs from these 3 different people. And you have to admit, when you're looking at these photos, that the conversation you have with each one of these people is going to be different. And the beauty when you choose your target, your vocabulary, the questions you ask, your ability to help them goes up exponentially. Because if you target men who geek out on video games, you're going to learn all about them. As you start helping them, they will tell you things that you never even would have thought of about how they get constipated because they sit around too much, right? That's not going to be the problem with the woman out there running, probably, or maybe she's running because of that, but you don't know that until you dive in, you pick your niche, you start working with those people, and you develop the rapport, you develop the expertise within that group. When you speak to everybody, you speak to no one. So who is your ideal client? When you think back, let me go back to those three. Is it one of those people? I know for me, my ideal client was moms. I wanted to help moms who wanted to stay home, be home. And I also wanted to help moms with kids who had ear infections. Like those were my two main target areas, especially moms who wanted to stay home, because when I was able to close my company to be home and earn an income, a significant income with Relive, I wished every woman who wanted it would have it. And I wanted to be the one to help them. So that's who I was talking to. So when you're thinking about your ideal client, think about your favorite person that you work with now. Who is that? And if you're not working with somebody, like if you're brand new to the business, that's okay too. Think of the person you'd like to work with. Think of your best friend or somebody you know in your life who's really nice, and what would it be like to work with them? And this is where you start crafting the context, and you start crafting just all the different adjectives that you would use to describe your ideal client. Obviously, demographics are going to be in this mix, right? It's going to be an age group. It's going to be where people live. As I said, Jack Hill is a personal trainer, CrossFit coach. He's the head coach for JV lacrosse at the high school. This demographic where we live supports him having private clients, people who are willing to pay him $90, $100 an hour for private coaching. If he were to move somewhere out in the further out, he probably wouldn't have that. So demographics definitely plays a role. You want people to be able to afford your products. As we said, they need to have needs. You can't solve a problem that somebody doesn't know they have. Maybe you can uncover the problem if they're willing to have a conversation with you. This is where you build a relationship. It's not about going around spewing forth everything you know about Relive. But so far, I haven't mentioned anything about Relive. I haven't mentioned when the company started or how long they've been in business or all the different benefits you get with working with Relive. All we're talking about here is identifying your ideal client and prospecting to know that you have people to talk to build a relationship with, who will eventually buy your product or jump into business with you. And see, I actually don't use the word sales very often. I don't often use sell, because when you build your relationship, when you are talking to your audience and you are the expert with what you're doing, whether it's helping moms come home to be with their kids, whether it's working with moms to help their kids stop having ear infections, you become the expert. And what happens? The sales just become inevitable. People just ask, I want what you have. Can I buy what you have? Literally, that's what happens if you give it a chance and you work the process properly. So going back to your ideal client and what you're looking for, you want somebody with similar values. You want to have fun. It's no fun working with somebody who's always Debbie Downer, who's on the negative side of things, who is just, you pick up the phone and they say hello. And you're trying to rally them and help them see the light of day. So it could be that's fun. you want communication. And Relive, they always talk about a ping pong match or a tennis match, right? If you call somebody, you want to know that they're going to call you back. You want to know that they're going to respond. If you text them, you want them to respond, and it's a two-way street. You doing all the work, it goes back to fun. That's no fun. So you want somebody who's willing to communicate with you. And again, you learn your rhythm. When you learn whether they communicate once a week, once a month, once a day, but it's the two-way street. Integrity. You want people to do what they say they're going to do. You want people to tell you the truth. How many times have you worked with a client who you call them to, you follow up, see if they're ready to reorder because it's been about 3 weeks, a month, and they say, oh no, I have plenty of cans. I have plenty left in the can. You know that they're not taking it every day. Maybe they've not even cracked open the can. So you want somebody to be honest and have honest communication with you. Maybe you're working with somebody who you know has a giant sphere of influence, and maybe you developing your relationship with this one person, you know that you'll be able to get in front of 100 other people. Maybe that's important to you. Maybe it's not. Just because you're here on a Saturday morning, I know that you want to build your business. If your business consists of all customers, yay for you. There's no right or wrong here. You want somebody to be open-minded. We call it teachable, but think of that picture of the woman jogging outside. You want her to be open-minded enough to say, yeah, I am stressed out, and yeah, I am looking for something to help me with my stress. Yes, I'm open to hearing what you have to say, as opposed to people saying, no, I'm good. But this is where, when you uncover the need that somebody has, that's where you can dive in to help them. They don't care how long Relive has been in business. Maybe further down the road, as part of the integrity of the company and the products that they will be investing, that they will be buying from you, that will be important. But more important is for them to build a relationship with you, so they know, like, trust. And I always throw respect in there too. But they know, like, and trust you because they will buy what you have. You also want to work with people who are able to make the decision, right? It's hard to work with a teenage kid because they probably don't have the buying power that their parents do. So just consider that. And you want to help somebody who wants to be helped. You can't want somebody's success more than they want it. So when you don't know who you're talking to, it's like all of these arrows at a target and you're missing the middle. You only have a finite set of resources. There's only so many hours in your day. You only have so much time to devote to your business. If you are speaking to everybody, you need to be an expert in everything, and you're talking to everybody and you're not hitting the bullseye. You're not hitting your target. You're basically throwing it against the wall and hoping something sticks. And you know what? It's hard. It's hard to do business that way. It's hard to build a business that way. Bob Montgomery always said that Relive is the easiest business if you work it hard, and the hardest business if you work it easy. And identifying who your target market is and being willing to narrow down the people you talk to will make this whole process easier. I feel that people quit any business. When I had my manufacturer's rep company and I would hire salespeople, I always said that people quit because they couldn't succeed fast enough for them. And everybody has a different threshold of how long they're willing to give it the position before they decide, that's not for me. When you work this job properly and you identify and you become an expert, you will hit the bullseye and you will succeed fast enough for you. Once again, when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. I probably could say this 100 more times because I work with entrepreneurs all the time, and they always say, but I can help everybody, but my product is for everybody, but everybody could use this thing that I have. Yes, that's true. And you know what? If you're working with that woman who's jogging outside, that potentially stressed out executive or young mom who's trying to lose the baby weight, whatever category she falls into, whether if you focus on her and get good at the vocabulary and the questions to ask and the needs that they have, it doesn't mean the geeks on the couch won't find you. It doesn't mean that one of them doesn't have a wife that fits your category, and so therefore she leads you to those geeks on the couch, but they're the outliers. They are the outliers because you are aimed at the women, the young mom who wants to lose the baby weight, or the stressed out executive who wants to work on her anti-aging regimen. You're working on them, the other people will find you. But in the meantime, you are focusing the limited resources you have to that market, and you're hitting the bullseye. And so you're not wasting all your time in these outer rings like that other picture. You are close to the target every time. So, and once you decide who you're working with and you get good at the questions to ask to uncover the needs that they have, plus you also know their needs because now you're working in this market and you know that a busy, stressed out executive woman who is working on her anti-aging, you know her needs. You know that she's probably not sleeping. She's probably not drinking enough water. She's probably not eating enough protein. She's probably not doing enough self-care. She's probably not meditating. Like, you know, all these things. And when somebody steps up and says, hey, I'm open, I want this, I want to work, I'm willing to commit the time for my anti-aging, you know that drinking a shake a few times a day you can help her fit that into her routine. And you know, from there, she'll start sleeping better and she will get the results. Plus, you know, the stories to tell her, right? When you know that she's your target market, you're not going to tell her about the little boy who doesn't have ear infections anymore. Maybe she's a grandmother, but you don't know that. You're working on the busy, stressed out executive woman who wants anti-aging. So you're not going to tell her about the 60-year-old man who's facing knee surgery. You're going to keep the stories relevant. Doesn't have to be an exact match, but it's going to be an anti-aging, stress, sleep. It's going to be in all those categories that a busy, stressed out executive woman is dealing with. I hope that makes sense. And if not, please write the question down so we can talk about it at the end. When you do this, the other thing that happens is your prospecting becomes a whole lot easier because now you can call people and you can say, who do you know? And so you can call people that you know and people that you don't know. And I'm going to give you kind of the protocol for how to do both. The people that you know, you can call and say, hey, Jill, it's Mair. And the fact that Jill knows me, I can just get away with my first name. Do you have a minute? I always ask, do you have a minute? Because I want to be respectful of somebody's time. And now that you've identified your target market and you know the needs, now you can say, I'm working on a project. I just started a new business. I'm putting together a group at my house on Saturday. I'm displaying at a local fair on next weekend, whatever it is. So, hey, Jill, it's Mair. Do you have a minute? And you say, I'm working on, and then here's the magic. Now you're listing those needs that you know that your people have. Hey, Jill, who do you know who works way too many hours? Who do you know who's not sleeping well at night? Who do you know who is just so stressed out and they're ready to make a change? Who do you know who's looking for anti-aging strategies? And now Jill can think about it. Perhaps Jill will self-identify. Perhaps Jill will say, hey, I'm the one that's stressed out. Hey, I'm the one that is not sleeping well. But you've taken all the pressure off of Jill to buy your stuff. You're not calling Jill and say, hey, Jill, I'm with a nutrition company and they can help you de-stress and sleep better. And okay, you've not identified that Jill even needs that. Unless you've had 10 previous conversations and you've built a relationship. All you're doing is calling and saying, who do you know? Who do you know who needs more energy? Who do you know who is ready to retire and needs more money? Whatever it is that your target market is, you have discovered their needs. You're not speaking to everybody. You're just targeting those needs that you know that the group that you want to work with has. If you don't know Jill, now there's got to be some sort of connection, right? Hey, Jill, this is Mair Hill. I'm using my last name. We met at, I'm going to jog her memory. We met at a networking event. We were sitting next to each other. I was the one wearing the purple sweater, or we both know Ted, and Ted said that I should call you because I'm working on a project. It's the same thing. Do you have a minute? And then from there, all you're doing is you're adding that extra step. You're trying to make a connection between why you're calling Jill, because what's the connection between you and Jill? Is it Ted who said I should call? Is it because we met before? Is it because you were in the same room with her and you noticed that she had a limp? I mean, whatever it is, you got to make that connection so you can jog her memory so that she knows that it's you. And then again, same script. Do you have a minute? I'm working on a project. I'm gathering a group together at my house next week. Who do you know who, when you list those same things that we were talking about, who do you know that needs more energy? Who do you know that's so stressed out? Who do you know that is looking for anti-aging strategies? Who do you know who has young kids? Whoever your target market is, because you've already determined that. And within that target market, when you set the intention of who those people are that you want to work with, in terms of that they're fun and they have integrity and they communicate well and they're the right demographic, it doesn't mean that other people won't find you, but it means that all your energy and your resources will be focused on this group so that you will succeed fast enough for you, and you'll stick around longer with more people. That's the whole point. I think that's why that's why I got involved in Relive. I wanted to help people. I saw right away this was my ability to help other people. And I think that's what draws people in. That's what keeps people in Relive, because we want to help a lot of people. You can't help a lot of people if you don't know who you're talking to, because when you talk to everyone, you speak to no one. So as you're going through this process and you're prospecting and you're identifying people that you want to talk to, you have to have a CRM. You have to have a way to keep track of who you're talking to. You won't remember. You won't remember. And if you are only talking to 3 people and all your eggs are in 3 baskets, those people will feel such extreme pressure from you, because they will just feel the desperation oozing from you that you need them. You need them to buy your product, and nobody wants to be in that position. So when you spread it out and you're doing enough networking and you're talking to enough people, you are not beholden to any one person. And for that reason, you got to keep track of all the people that you're talking to. I'm very visual. I prefer pen and paper. It doesn't matter whether you prefer pen and paper or you want to go the electronic method. I prefer pen and paper because I can literally remember that I wrote it in purple pen and that I put this up in the upper right hand corner. Like, that's just the way my brain works, always has. Once I put something in the computer, I have to set all kinds of alarms and notifications to make sure that it calls it up again. And then I have to remember to go to that app to look at it, to see what the alarms and the notifications. I'm just better off on pen and paper, but it's whatever works. Right? My father always said a good plan is one you can do. So if your good plan includes a notebook and you keep everything in a notebook, what I would say is, in that notebook, make sure that every entry has the date on it, literally the day, the month, and the year. Because when you've been in Relive, like I have for 20 years, I still have notebooks from when I started. I still have all those notebooks from all those people that I spoke with in the beginning. So remember in the beginning, in the sales cycle, I said follow-up works after every step in that sales cycle, follow-up works here too. And you can only do proper follow-up when you've taken good enough notes. I do something called porch gatherings. Love people to copy my idea, but basically I have a list of almost 50 women, and on any, we gather usually every other week at my house, and I never know who's going to show up. So it's up to me to know who those 50 women are by name and sight, and to know something about each woman so that I can introduce them to the group, and because it's never the same group twice. And that's how people, as hosts, that's how I get people to know each other. So when you write down those details, and when you have conversations with people and you're there, you're present, and you actively listen, they will tell you so many things that you'll be able to help. And they will say something that maybe it's not a discussion for today, but they mention you're talking and they said, oh yeah, my friend Suzanne is so stressed out, and maybe today is not the day to talk about Suzanne. You put it in the back of your head, you write it down on your card, you put it in your app, whatever it is that you're doing, keep track of that that Jill said that about Suzanne. And then you can go back to Jill and say, hey, you mentioned Suzanne. You think she'd be open to learning how to de-stress? That's how you prospect. That's how you prospect. All right, so we have, we talked about the sales cycle, we talked about identifying, we talked about target market, we talked about the importance of narrowing your focus so that you can do a better job and help more people with the resources that you have, so that you can succeed fast enough for you so that you'll stick around to be able to help more people. And that's it. It's a quick 30 minutes. I have a ultimate pre-sales call checklist available. There's a QR code on the screen. If you just hold your camera up to that QR code, it'll open up it'll open up a new link. You can click on that. You can get the ultimate pre-sales call checklist. And I am willing to stick around for as long as you need to. If you guys have questions, you can ask me questions on anything, any part of the sales cycle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be identifying prospecting. It could be anything about XR. If you have a question, I'm here to answer it. So just raise your hand at the bottom of your screen, raise your hand. And Dawn, I think Dawn can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. And please come on screen if you're going to ask a question.
Mair, when I put my photo on your QR code, it's not pulling up.
It's a bummer.
I know.
Okay, so let me see, because it worked last night when I was doing it.
Somebody else try it and let us know.
Hi, Mayor.
Oh yeah, no, it's not working on.
This is Colleen from South Bend, Indiana.
Hi, Colleen. Okay, so
think
I
my
can.
video just keeps messing with me here. Hold on a second. It keeps going to something else, so I cannot hear you.
Okay, so I have a
There we
so
go.
I can tell you the link, since I don't know why the QR code isn't working. That's really weird.
Mair, if you send it to me, everybody on the list pretty much has my cell phone. If you guys
Okay.
want to text me, I will be happy to send it to you. So this is Dawn Van Amber. Most of the y'all on this list that are listening in today have my phone number. So if you texted me, I'll take care of it.
Okay, or you can go to mairhillconsulting.com, MAIRHILL consulting.com /UPSC, Ultimate Pre-Sales Call Checklist. mairhillconsulting.com /UPSC. And so if you go there, you can also get it, but I will send the QR code to Dawn.
Yep. Perfect. Who has a question?
Okay.
Go ahead. Raise your hand.
Penny, go ahead.
Hi, I have an Android phone. How does that work with Android?
Same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So just text Dawn and she'll send you the QR code. It works both ways.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any question? Sales process, what's going on in your Relive business that you need help with? Where are you absolutely stuck? Let's fix it. All right. We're going to, Alem, you're up.
Oops. Yeah. Thank you so much. There's so much value on what you said, because I saw what I was doing wrong. Approaching someone and talking about the company and how long they've been around. Listening to you, I can see where I went wrong, because people start to, prejudge. But building relationship, and the thing that we said, if you sat with somebody at an event, reminding them and reconnecting. So I just want to thank you, because I learned quite a lot from this training from you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I want to shift your thinking a little bit. What you're doing was not wrong. There's really very little that you can do wrong in sales in Relive. It's all about degrees of effectiveness. And that's what I was getting at when I said, when you focus on other people, when the focus is on other people, right? It's people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's the building the relationship part. And so if you kept doing what you're doing, you would quit. You wouldn't succeed fast enough for you. Does that make sense? Because you'd just be banging your head against the wall thinking, okay, well, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And so when you focus on other people, I honestly just, to me, it's more fun when you focus on other people. I think I'm naturally curious. I want to know all about them. I want to know their story. I want to know why they're here. I want to know what they did yesterday. Without getting creepy, but I want to know all about somebody, because I hear them and I want to know the way that I can help them.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the one thing on that when we're listening to somebody, and this is something that I've done, is like, we are already pre-thinking what we're going to say next to them, instead of really listening to what they have to say. I think that's where we kind of get into the anxiety and stress mode, because, all right, what am I going to say next? Or how am I going to present Relive? Or how am I going to have you buy my stuff? And I think that's where we all if we just really listen and get to know them and the relationship, like you said, that relationship is so important. If we would just focus on them and forget about what we're trying to do, in selling our stuff, then we relax and we hear more instead of forward thinking. And that was critical right there as your customer relationship management. It's just the whole thing of just really hearing what they have to say and then responding with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's, sales is really all about asking questions. And that there again, for why you want a target market, because there's going to be a handful of questions for each target market that are going to make the most sense and that will give you the information you need to help them, right? To uncover those needs that they have. And so when you ask the questions, I would rather you ask one question and hear the answer than 10 questions and not hear the response, because of what Dawn just said about you're so busy of like, okay, question number 1 is this, and question number 2 is this, and question number 3. Okay, so I did question number 1, question number 2, so now I'm question number 3. What is, and it's really, and I think people think they have to be someone other than who they are in order to be successful, and that's so wrong. When you are your authentic self, flaws and all, you will find your tribe that resonate with who you are, and you will attract those people that you can work with. I know that seems pretty esoteric, but it's exhausting to be somebody else. So just be who you are. You're a good person. Just be your own good person. And that's what will help you build those relationships that will help you uncover those needs that people have that you can solve with Relive. All right, Colleen.
Hi there.
Hi there.
I made a couple changes in the way I was approaching people, and it has made a tremendous difference. One of them is rapport building. And I know people say build a rapport, but I need boxes to check. So I started asking 2 questions. So I would get 2 volleys back and forth. I saw your post. That must be painful, and let them speak about it. One guy sent me a video response, and then I responded to that, and he responded to that. Then I brought up Relive, and that's been working really well. So I just make sure there's 2 volleys for rapport establishing, and then they open up and they receive the information, or we set an appointment, or they're just grateful to hear from me, rather than, hey, I saw your post, I got something that'll help you. Because that's like an immediate door slam. And
Right.
so I changed. It's unreal, the warmth that I'm receiving from doing that.
And so when you bring up Relive, how do you bring it up? What do
I
you
said,
say?
"Hey."
What's your third thing?
Well, it depends on the situation. Let's say this woman has ovarian cancer. And I said, I represent a food science company, and I can show you, I can take, if you got 5-10 minutes, I can just spend a little time with you and show you. I sometimes I ask them to spend time looking at the website. And so I walk them through products. And so I integrate stories along that way. Or I would ask them, would you like to meet someone who has had similar issues? Of course, we can't claim anything, but this has helped a lot of people if you'd like to meet them. Or, it just depends on the flow of the conversation, really. But I invite them to plug in to something.
So when you have a target market, let's go back to that busy, stressed out executive. Now you can go to where they hang out online, right? So it's easier to prospect and it's easier to find them, because you Colleen, you sound like you're in groups that are kind of
That was just Facebook. That was one of the opportune moments.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so opportune moments when you're
that
talking to
was
people.
actually speaking. Yeah, I have a different target market.
Okay, but you have one.
Yesterday I went out.
You have a target market.
Yeah. My target market's kind of casual athletes, actually.
Okay.
People, and not intense, Olympic athletes, because I'm not that, but I was a martial artist and I like working out. And so I actually am leading with a product now, and I've found that makes it a lot easier for me. So I'm leading with Energize Go. And I just share my experience with the Energize Go, and people in that target market can look at the ingredients and see the value just by looking at the ingredients. So that's fun for me. I enjoy that. And then it
Right.
sparks conversation. And I went out yesterday for 2 hours just visiting bike shops and along those lines, foot solutions for feet, and it was really productive.
And so it's all easier when you have your target market, because you are more comfortable, you're more confident, because you have the vocabulary, you know what to anticipate. So you're not stabbing in the dark.
Right. And just having one product I talk about, and then not trying to save the world with everything, that's easier. Because if
So
people
much
get
easier.
results with one half a drink of Energize Go, people see results. So they were all so excited to try it. So I sampled. I went out and sampled yesterday, and so today I'll be checking on them.
And so it's from there that it's kind of like the gateway, right? Because now that people see those results so fast, it'll be them who come back to you and say, hey, do you think this stuff would work with blah, blah? Right. And that's what expands the worldview. But if you're not talking to this specific group, you don't even ever get that opportunity, because you've not become that person, that you're not your authentic self that they know, like, and trust, right? Building that rapport. So you won't ever have an opportunity to help them with this other need that they have, because you're never be in a position to know about it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so yay for
Yeah.
you. Keep going.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's the best part, having fun, right? That's
Mhm.
the best part.
Yeah.
All right, we have a few minutes left. Anybody else have a question? All right, so we will, you guys are welcome to, if you're watching the recording, you're welcome to tag me in a question in the Facebook group. I'm happy to answer it. Or send your question to Dawn and I'm happy to answer it. Hope you don't mind that I said that, Dawn, but you're willing to send the QR codes. So thank you. Appreciate you all being here. Keep doing what you're doing, but find the fun in it and be willing to be courageous enough to pick your target market, get really good at it, and you'll see how much fun you have doing Relive and helping a lot of people.